When covering segregation and inequality, how do you report in a way that keeps your readers or your listeners from becoming jaded and being like, well, we kind of already know segregation and inequality exists?
Yeah, I don't think that people understand how it came to exist. That it's, we're segregated, but there isn't any interrogation about why. And my stories, while they rely on data and research from scholars, I want to make that connection with the lived experience with people. So putting the facts and figures with what's happening on the ground level in neighborhoods. And also history. Mm-hmm. So much of this people did not learn, they don't understand. And journalism is a good mechanism to do storytelling where you can weave in all of those elements in a digestible way that doesn't feel dense.
So there's a lot of stereotypes that fall in line with segregation and inequality, whether they be racial stereotypes, gender stereotypes, especially when we look at people's perception of the South Side of Chicago. How does your reporting work to dispel these stereotypes? And how do you work to ensure you're not reinforcing stereotypes, whether intentionally or unintentionally?
A good journalist should always be aware of blind spots. I like to think that because I grew up in the community, in one of these communities, that gives me a perspective, but that doesn't shield me because people make mistakes and it can be easy to fall into stereotypes. So it's also having a mix of stories, that it's not always, here are these bad policies or here are bad things that are happening. I try to do a mix of joyful stories and showing neighborhood life. Mm-hmm. And some of that is very ordinary. I mean, you want it to rise to news value, but these are things that could happen in other communities as well.
Mm-hmm. While you're living in Chicago and reporting in Chicago, what type of insight does that give you when you develop your stories or you find the stories that you want to write?
I think being from there gives me an extra layer of just institutional knowledge and a strong sense of place. I know where things are pretty quickly. I remember when, that used to be here. Well, this person used to be the alderman in this ward. So it just gives you a deeper understanding, and that institutional knowledge is really important.
So you've reported not only in the U.S., but also outside of the country, like Libya and Jerusalem. Where do you feel you had the most growth, both as a journalist and just personally, and why?
I think every job has made me grow. When I first started off, I was so afraid of having mistakes. I didn't want to run a correction, and probably had a little bit of anxiety and triple checking. Being in Jerusalem, I thought gave me, I'm not Arab, I'm not Muslim, I'm not Jewish, I'm not Palestinian, I'm not Israeli. So I thought, even though I've talked about being from a place is important in institutional knowledge, in that instance, I thought being an outsider gave me maybe clearer eyes because I didn't have anything personally at stake. So that, I think allowed me to also identify discrimination when I saw it. I think that being in, working in other cities and trying to learn the culture and also the players, just keeps you on your toes. And I just think this is the type of work you have to do it to learn it and to continue to be better at it.
This is kind of like a more general one for us journalism kids. How did you find your break in the industry?
I don't think I've ever considered it being a break. I knew very early on that I wanted to be a journalist when I was a teenager. And I did every summer program, worked on, I was kind of like oddly, freakishly obsessed. So I sought out programs And then I went to college and worked on my school paper and became editor and did internships. So I don't feel like there's one break because I studied this. It wasn't like, oh, I'm an engineer and I want someone to take a chance on me. I want to do something different. Like, this just worked. I worked for a long time, and each job, either got me more money or more responsibility, and then you just keep doing it. So I don't look at it as one particular break. It was a steady journey.
Can you talk about the crossover between print journalism and broadcast, and how did you make that crossover?
Well, I come from the once upon a time era where it was very siloed. You were a print major, you were broadcast. The internet was this thing that was starting, but it didn't rule our lives the way that it does now. And so you all are already multimedia. I mean, you're digital natives. You grew up with this, and you're probably learning this in journalism. It's not just one thing. And even if you're print, there's web that goes online, and there's video. So, I'm not the one to... I don't have the answers because I had to... I guess your question was like, how did I transfer? But I think this is second nature. Like, I don't probably have any advice to you because you all automatically do this. But I will say that I did not get stuck on where I wanted to work. I focused on the kind of work that I wanted to do. And my master's is in newspaper management. I thought I was going to be an editor or a publisher. And if I had stayed focused on it has to be in newspapers, I might be a laid off print reporter. And I saw the job at WBEZ. It was like, oh, that's the kind of journalism that I want to do. Okay, well, let me get up to speed and learn this medium. And the one good thing is that print is like the blue chip for everything. Like, you don't really see broadcasters going into print. Not that they can't freelance or not that it's never been done, but it's typically print people because of the hustle, the deadlines. They translate better into other mediums. That's what I've seen in my career with people who didn't go to school or grow up in the industry where you did everything.